The New York Times had a lengthy piece where they talk about your transformation, they say, from somebody who was not supportive of President Trump to somebody who is full-throatedly supportive of him. They say you called him a whack job at one point, and they add this. In August 2015, she told a New York radio station that he was insulting to women and that his candidacy would hurt the party's efforts to attract female voters. According to her former friends, they continue, she thought Mr. Trump was too awful and ridiculous to be taken seriously. Her revisionism still shocks those who have known her the longest and who remember the disdain she expressed for Mr. Trump back then. So the question is when, more importantly, why did you change your mind about President Trump?
Well, Shannon, it's a disgrace that you would quote the New York Times with nameless, faceless,
but they're
false
quoting your
sources.
Friends, so I'm giving you a chance to respond to
Shannon,
that.
Shannon, they're not quoting my friends. Those names are not included because they are false smears. I was attacked.
To be fair, there are a number of names of people. Just to be fair, there are a number of names of people who are quoted in the article.
Shannon, let me correct you.
People can read it for themselves because they quote you on a radio station calling him insulting to women. Is that a misquote? Did you not say that?
I said the statement that the Democrats leaked out in 2016, that was insulting. However, Shannon, I stood by and supported him, and I strongly support him. And he has done so much to promote women in senior positions, as well as promote women's economic opportunity.
How do you grapple with standing by his side while a jury is debating how much to award 18-year-old for being sexually abused by them?
These are witch hunts against President Trump, whether it's the
you don't believe in Jim Crow?
Whether it's the bogus case of
The jury found that Donald Trump sexually.
Donald Trump has named Congresswoman Elise Stefanik, of all people, to serve as the U.S. ambassador to the United Nations.
Any topic from anyone. Don't be shy.
We're not. And listen, they said, you want to do some questions?
Yes, sir.
And we said, yes, we
With the
do.
MAGA hat. I love it. In camo. Perfect.
Yes, Congresswoman Stefanik, being in the leadership of the Congress, I mean, could you explain why this Congress with the House with a Republican majority has been really so crappy in just like essentially punting on every single issue over the last 2 years? They had a chance to like cut the budget, not fund Ukraine, do all of this kind of stuff, and every single time they have caved when they could have done something. And you've been in the leadership, and I'd just like to know, is there any explanation for this and why this might ever change?
I want to pause for a minute and play some of the comments that you made on the evening of that day. Let's take a look.
This has been a truly tragic day for America. Americans will always have the freedom of speech and the constitutional right to protest, but violence in any form is absolutely unacceptable. It is anti-American and must be prosecuted to the fullest extent of the law.
In terms of what we're hearing today, former President Trump has referred to January 6th as a, quote, beautiful day. Just this weekend, he referred to some of those who are serving time for having stormed the Capitol as, quote, hostages. Do you still feel as though that day was tragic and that those who were responsible should be held responsible to the fullest extent of the law?
Well, first of all, Kristen, as typical for NBC and the biased media, you played one excerpt of my speech. I stand by my comments that I made on the House floor. I stood up for election integrity, and I challenged and objected to the certification of the state of Pennsylvania because of the unconstitutional overreach. So I absolutely stand by my floor speech.
On the issue of election integrity, though, as you know, Trump took his case to court more than 60 times that there was fraud. He didn't win. But I want to get back to this key question. Do you still think it was a tragic day? Do you think that the people who stormed the Capitol should be held responsible to the full extent of the law?
I have concerns about the treatment of January 6 hostages.
Stefanik has long been one of the most vocal supporters of Israel's genocide in Gaza, and it's basically a certainty that she's going to continue where Joe Biden left off, doubling down on sending arms and money and support to Israel. She's already openly criticized the United Nations for not doing what she considers to be enough to back what she calls the war against Hamas. And let's not forget, by the way, the US is the UN's largest financial contributor, so Stefanik's influence in Washington in this case could carry real weight.
We know that the UN is a den of anti-Semitism that has only gotten worse under Joe Biden and Kamala Harris's watch. Ever since the barbaric terrorist attack by Hamas on October 7th, The UN continuously betrays Israel, acting as apologists for the terrorists of Hamas and Iran. And finally, this anti-Semitic influence came to a head on Wednesday of this week as the UN voted 124-14 to strip Israel from the right to self-defense against Palestinian terrorism in the West Bank, Gaza Strip, and East Jerusalem. Unfortunately, this comes as no surprise when you examine the failed policies of Joe Biden and Kamala Harris that have emboldened our adversaries and advanced anti-American, anti-Israel, and anti-freedom sentiments around the world.
But there's also another side effect. If she's appointed to this role, it would leave her congressional seat in New York wide open. And one person, at least, Elon Musk, seems a little bit nervous about that. He tweeted, Elise is awesome, but it might be too risky to lose her from the House, at least for now. Here's hoping Elon's worst fears are realized. Not just this one, but all of them. Thanks for watching our video. Did you know that you can support our show by becoming a subscriber? Just click the subscribe button and also ring the bell so that you get notifications when we're live or when we post new content.